Together, we're breaking down the numbers for net worth, how much wealth the average American family has at different stages of life. Let's move into the 30s. Empower says the median net worth for someone in their 30s is around $35,000. The Federal Reserve is doing their numbers a little differently. They say the average American under the age of 35 has a net worth of around $39,000. So these numbers are pretty close, 39 to 35. Like I said, the Federal Reserve is doing it a little differently. They're kind of lumping in everyone under the age of 35. What are your kind of thoughts on that 35 to 39,000 number there?
It's pretty realistic, I think. Again, in our 20s, we don't have the highest income that we're going to have yet, so we're just establishing ourselves. So in our 30s, it's great to see that net worth start to turn positive and move into a little bit bigger digits. Again, in our 20s and 30s, these are really foundational years. So the net worths should not be typically extremely high. It's making smart money moves, establishing ourselves in our financial lives. So these numbers seem pretty realistic to me.
And again, too, it's important to realize that this is, money in retirement account too. Like this is a lot of people, I'm sure, a lot of that wealth is some of those retirement accounts that it feels weird because people may not see that as wealth or money because you can't really use it right now, but it counts towards your net worth.
That's a great point. Oftentimes we might lose track of retirement accounts because it's so far in the future, but you absolutely get to include those when you're calculating your net worth. Those are real dollars that will grow into something big in the future.
And I'm guessing that this decade, the 30s, is probably one that you're still seeing a wide range of situations because they're probably people that have been earning a lot of money that are doing really well that are much higher than that 35, but then in 30s there's still probably people who may still be negative that are still paying student loans or are still living paycheck to paycheck. The 30s, and also this is when people start to maybe have children or thinking about a house. This seems like a decade that could be a little complicated.
I think a great example might be somebody who went to further their education. They went past college, got advanced degrees. They went into master's programs or became attorneys or doctors or went on to advanced careers that require taking on substantial amounts of debt. And so it's absolutely possible that you're in your 30s and still have a negative net worth and that you're digging out of that hole. And that's okay. That is okay. Again, as long as we're paying down high interest rate debt, taking advantage of any 401k, 403b matches, doing all the smart moves, that will still compound and you will turn a positive net worth eventually if you're negative still in your 30s.
And I think we should have said this earlier, but our whole goal for doing this episode is to kind of show everyone some of the more accurate numbers. It's easy to get caught up in the whole comparison game with comparing yourself to your neighbors, seeing stuff that's going on, hearing about billionaires making all this money. So we thought it was just important to show what the actual numbers. I mean, the Federal Reserve, it doesn't get any more, trustworthy than some of those numbers. So this is where the average American is actually at.
And I'll emphasize one point you made early on. It's possible to look at someone, see a beautiful home, a beautiful car, and they're up to their eyeballs in debt. And so net worth really brings everybody onto an even playing field. And it's possible to over leverage your life, over borrow, overextend everything. And on the surface, you may look nice, you may not have the nice stuff, but your net worth could still be negative. Somebody could look like they don't have the nicest car or nicest home. They may have a really high net worth. They may be that millionaire next door. So absolutely, you can't just look at somebody and instantly know their net worth necessarily.
Yeah, there's actually one person in my life that I know is very wealthy, but drives probably the junkiest car out of anyone I know. And maybe that's part of it, is you don't spend a lot of your money and you keep saving it.